And welcome back to Hannity. The National Park Service's decision to produce videos praising Islam is raising eyebrows across the country. Now, in the series of videos posted on the Women's Rights National Historic Park website, American Muslim students discuss their experiences being Muslim while blaming negativity towards Islam on the September 11, 2001 terror attacks. Let's take a look at some of the highlights.
People think that Islam oppresses women and that there's no equality, but they're wrong. There's equity.
People think that we're all terrorists when a lot of us don't know what was going on at the time.
Islam means peace too, so we all just want to be peaceful with everybody.
Well, also especially after 9/11, we have to be super careful how we act around people.
I think ever since 9/11, that when people start just magnifying you, you have to always be on edge. Since 9/11 happened, like before that there wasn't much hate against Muslims, but since 9/11 happened, a lot of people saw that, and that was a big thing because a lot of people died. They just started believing this is what they do, this is what they know, this is what they're supposed to do, this is what their holy book told them, this is what their prophet told them, and they think that ever since then.
All right, now, while the National Park Service claims that no federal tax dollars were used on the videos, they didn't respond to questions about whether videos promoting other religions may be in the works. And here now is the man who brought us that story, Fox News Radio's Todd Starnes, and we're also joined by Fox News contributor Lisa Daftari is here with us. All right, you broke this story. Here's my question. Are they producing this in their spare time? Are they producing it during work hours? If they got grant money, where did the money come? Because none of this is cheap and none of this is free.
Well, the National Park Service tells me the money came from a nonprofit group that is associated with this women's rights park up in Seneca Falls, New York. We asked them specifically if they had produced any other videos that perhaps promoted Christianity or Judaism. They refused to answer that question. They sent me back a statement that said the National Park Service does not support any particular religion. But Sean, I've seen 15 minutes worth of video footage. It is very clear that the National Park Service was endorsing Islam in these videos.
Okay, but they're also, there's one point of view here. And by the way, I think most of the American people make a distinction between Islam and radical Islamists. There just happens to be a lot of radical Islamists, and I think people make that distinction. Do you agree with that?
Well, the radical Islamists are the ones making the headlines, and if these girls or these videos wanted to make headlines also, maybe they should have taken a different approach. They'll always use 9/11 as the excuse, but who are you mad at? The American people, the victims of 9/11? Make a video denouncing terrorism, make a video denouncing the radicals. The American people make the distinction, our president makes the distinction, and it's time for Muslims living in this country to feel as though they're a part of society, as though they're here and they're benefiting from America and not just being the victims that are marginalized.
Well, let's take America out of this for a second. Are, generally speaking, moderate Muslims afraid in countries like Egypt and elsewhere to speak up to the radicalism?
Right, so the question would be, would these girls who are saying that Islam is a religion of equality, would they be allowed to go back to their countries of origin and make the same videos and use a public platform, let alone minorities in those countries, such as Jews or Christians in Muslim countries? Would they be allowed to make videos?
That's a great point, Todd.
Well, look, I mean, to my knowledge, we have yet to hear from the ACLU. We have yet to hear from Americans United or that anti-religion group in Wisconsin denouncing this because of the so-called separation of church and state, or CARE. You hear none of that from these groups, and the reason why is they're terrified. Look, Sean, I'm one of these Southern Baptist infidels, and here's my religious philosophy. I'm willing to fellowship with anybody in the country, regardless of your religion, as long as you're not willing to blow me to smithereens. And we don't hear anybody denouncing these radical Islamists.
All right, let me go back to this production issue. I just don't like being lied to. It's like when my kids lie to me. I don't like. All right, so wait a minute. They produce the videos?
That's right.
Did they produce it on their own time? Because I'm not buying it.
No, I'm not either, Sean. Yeah. There were a series of these videos, not only promoting Islam, but also promoting the LGBT community as well on this women's rights page. The video was produced by an intern. So for them to say that no money was spent, no taxpayer money, that is disingenuous, because that intern is paid for, that position is paid for by the tax dollars. Yeah. So they're being loose with their explanation.
Right. So, I mean, in terms of just looking at it from any perspective, no two sides were shown. They got a public platform, taxpayer money or taxpayer time, however you want to look at it, to get their message across. And the real message should be to them to say, if you want to be a part of the society, if you want to help distinguish yourselves, then you have to put out a different message.
All right, guys, great work as usual. Thank you both for being with us. And